Right, so we had our little hawkish rate cut. December, we don't know, we don't care. In fact, even the news, we don't care. It's just about how the market digests and trades, especially for me on a closing basis the day after. Because you get this whipsaw. I never really trust the day that the news comes out, especially the moment it comes out. There's always, I mean, you could either buy or sell the news and it usually comes straight back. You could usually make money no matter what. But anyway, even the same day it closes, I don't trust the day after I do. DXY, now that we are Friday morning, DXY is strong, which is good because I prefer gold and silver going up with a strong dollar because once it goes down, even better. I feel like the dollar does want to go up a bit now and maybe take the market down with it, which is also good. I prefer gold going up when the market goes down. That's when we really outperform, and that's kind of what's been happening very, very recently since the Fed news. So I quite like it. So dollar up, right? Next stop up here, 100, and then maybe we go to 102. In the grand scheme of things, nothing changes. Fundamentally, we go all the way down. We flush to new lows. The precious metals will go to new highs, etc., etc. But I don't mind short-term retracement, and I think the short-term drop in the metals is also over. Obviously, I bought the drop, and the move up's been good so far. Gold, and by the way, silver's outperforming gold. Gold, nice move, right? Very nice move. Yesterday, Thursday, start near low of day, close at high of day. And so far, sideways consolidation. I like that too. I think we're going to go sideways up, basically. Yeah, basically what this thing is saying, you know. And then we'll see. I think we go all the way up here and then we'll see. But I'm going to stop with gold straight away because when you look at silver, it's already back at the highs, since flushing, since that big flush, it's already testing the highs. We're green so far, whilst gold is red. And also a nice candle yesterday closed a high of day above what I thought would be resistance, went straight through it. So resistance now is really this last bit here. And maybe we don't take it out. It's Friday today, so I don't mind closing around here. Because if next week we go up again, we're at the next level, which is all the way up here, obviously. And we're basically testing the old highs because this is, there's nothing special. And to be honest, why would we go? It's possible, but if you go to 52 in silver, you could stall, fail, and come back down, and then you're going to test the absolute lows down here. You'd have to look at gold. But for me, if you're going to start crossing this line, especially on a closing basis, that's it. You're going to go to 60 because you're not going to test the old high all the way up here for nothing. I can't see a double top at 54. I can see one maybe here, making a lower high, an obvious lower high. But if you're going to start closing above, but anyway, one step at a time. So far, silver's outperforming gold, right? And we've already tested the absolute high of this area. So now let's see. But I think psychologically, you close above 50, that indicates they're going to move to 52. So it could happen, even with the dollar going up. So I like that. Let's check the miners. I like that too because even though we're all the way down here, that's good. Even more money to make, right? Because we know that the miners outperform the metals on the way up. So if silver starts to test its 52, 54 zone, which is relatively speaking all the way up here, that means the miners need to go not just all the way up there, but higher, which is a nice, beautiful 20% move if you're going to make new highs. So we haven't entered the gap zone. GDX, I love it. And the candles are great too, especially after that candle. A nice little clean out of everyone. Start at low of day, close at high of day. Basically, if we have any kind of a green day, we're going to be testing this zone. If not this gap fill, GDXJ, same sort of thing, right? Beautiful candle. If we have a green day, we're going to test this zone here. If there's any push through, then into the gap we go. Let's just see how much of a percentage move that requires. Yeah, I think we can test this zone if it's a sideways up day. You could have the miners outperform the metals and we're up 3% while silver's up 1 or something like that. If we start to, yeah, if silver starts to move above 50 and start going towards 52, I don't see that happening today, but we're closing the gap. But then you got to think about it, if silver's going to be testing its old highs, you need to be all the way up here. That's 20% SIL. And actually, we then need to go even higher. So huge move. Same thing, obviously, same chart everywhere. Probably very similar percentage moves to even SILJ's. Not got too much more catching up to do. Yeah, six. You could have like a 5.5% day to day. Huge move. Yeah, 20%, same sort of percentages. All right, let's check the actual miners. Newmont. I like it. Nice, strong percentage moves by the gold producers, the best of the best. Newmont, very nice. Outperforming the GDX candle, really engulfing, closing way above yesterday's high of day. Back trading into this zone. Next stop, maybe this little gap. Not as obvious. Huge percentage moves though to get back to the old highs, and why not, right? 20. Wow, even more than SILJ. Obviously, it got extra crushed because of supposedly bad earnings, but actually they weren't bad earnings, they were record. So if gold's going to make new all-time highs and go to 4,400 and higher, you're going to have to go even higher because you're going to make more money. And actually, next quarter, you are going to make more money. Barrick has been strong throughout the decline. And now look at that. Close at real high of day. Back in this zone clearly. And looks like it wants an excuse to just go test. This one is probably going to be the senior that makes a breakout before any of the others. 10%. That's not that much. That's two good days, or one very good day, or three average days. That's very, very feasible. A Nico Eagle. Nice. That was probably incorrect. Here's a little zone before you get. Ah, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Just watch GDX for this one. I can see this more of a zone actually. All the ascendings can go. Yeah, Agnico looks good. Maybe not as strong as Barrick, but almost. But Barrick's way higher. Well, it declined way less. Agnico looks wonderful. Good earnings. Everything's good. We just need the price of the metals to just go back up a little bit. I think the miners will take out their old highs. I actually do think so. Pan America weak compared to the others we just looked at. Good because it's still extremely cheap. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, this probably needs the price of silver to go up to bring it back to its old strength. This should be way high. This should have taken out 50, at least its all-time high. And I think it's just a gift. I think there's nothing wrong with this one. So I'm just going to hold. I'm not going to add. I'm not going to sell. I haven't done any trimming, by the way, since the bounce, which is very rare for me. I think I got a bit lucky there. And I think I could do some today when I think about it. If some of them start entering the gap, just to trim a little bit of what I bought down here. Wheaton, nice. Very nice. Yeah, this one easily could take out, could at least test this level. It's probably doing it in pre-market today, but maybe go into there. This is really best. I'm starting to see what Rick Rule means by Agnico, Wheaton, and Franco. You know, you count on them. They are very good. On the way down, they came down as much as the others. That was a bit surprising, but that's why they're even more of a buy, and I did buy them. I nibbled them almost daily. Every time they were down 5%, I just added little nibbles. And here we are bouncing. Wheaton looks good. Franco, even cheaper. That really went down to the 180 support zone. That's beautiful. I absolutely added that one down there. And I wasn't waiting for 180, huh? I bought it when I felt like it was at the lows around here. This one has a long way up to go. Lots of resistance. Little level there. Bigger level there. It should be. Then the gap, not sure if it's there or there, but yeah, long way. Then this descending line will probably play a part. Huge. This one is probably the one that's going to encounter the biggest resistance on the way up. In fact, definitely of all the silvers. Also 18%. Good. Even more time to add if necessary. Metalla, which a bit like Barrick, hardly went down sideways. Yeah, you see Barrick's beating it on the way up, but anyway, they're totally different. One's a small streamer, the other one's an absolute senior producer. But this one won't take much. You get any move up in gold and silver, you're testing there. If you're testing here, honestly, it's not much to go there. So this one is good. I am gold. Let's get rid of that. I would have expected it to be a bit higher, but that's fine. This one will climb with gold. I actually expected testing this area over here, 12:30 today, if gold maintains, or actually gold needs to go green, but silver seems to be playing the role of the motivator today, so it's probably taking the lead. It'll probably drag gold up as long as we stay green by the open. This should be easy, maybe into the gap. At least test this pre-gap zone. A lot of them have the same charts, but pretty nice, right? If you think about the flush we've had, everyone's been a bit scared, but we've bounced basically from the lows. All if we do the gap, 13, 14% bounce is pretty good. You've got to right trim something in case it starts to fail and we go back down for a lower low later. That's possible. And that'd be welcome. Like if I trimmed, relatively speaking, all of them into this sort of zone, trim a little 30% of what I bought since the drop, then you want it to go back down. And maybe it does. And maybe it goes to new lows, and then you buy back that, that amount you've sold up here, and then you add more, right? And then it starts to go back up here a couple of weeks later and make new highs. The whole thing would have been worth it. B2 gold, yeah, hasn't bounced as much as the others, but I just see two levels, one big move up and then another one, no problem. Harmony, this is one of the ones that got crushed the most. I haven't even, no, did I add? I don't even remember. I think I was prioritizing the other ones. But since I bought this one down here, well, that's not really a reason not to buy. That's a bit of a buy where it is actually, even now. But this will encounter several resistance zones on the way up. I need to maybe consider little nibble. I don't even know if I've nibbled this one. Aris Mining, though, before I forget, had massive move yesterday. I assume it's news earnings. Went straight through. Don't like the close, but maybe it wasn't allowed to test its old highs so quickly because it's basically close to the absolute, all-time 52-week highs. And you're not allowed to do that with gold nowhere near. I don't know. Maybe that's why the small retreat. But it's great. And if gold's up, we should be testing this zone now. That's really your resistance. And this, forget about it. It gets replaced by the old high. Let's see. It'll make a nice weekly candle, that's for sure. And then next week, if we have any extra bounce in the metals, we should be testing the old highs. And there I'll nibble out because I wasn't really, ever since 10, I didn't nibble anything. Maybe a small nibble. I don't even remember if I bought anything for this. I don't think I did. The whole drop, I didn't buy anything. I was buying the seniors and the silvers and the mid-tier golds, but this one I didn't. It's a shame. SBSW, fine. I consider that more of a multi-metal, platinum, palladium. So, but this I'm just holding. I added actually down here. Let's see. Depends on the other stocks. On the other metals, First Majestic, nice, clear resistance. Clearly touched it. I didn't trim any. Normally I'd be trimming that, and then I'd be trimming just under this, and then I'd trim just under that. But I've got no sells in for the metal. I'm just buying the dip, and I've done that. I've nibbled into the silvers. Let's see. Today we should definitely enter the gap zone. Silver's already green unless it's changed just now. So there you go. 13 sort of 69-ish, and then the old high. You're not allowed to get all the way to 1550 without silver making a move like to 52 or something. But that's okay. That looks, I think, even stronger than silver. No, not stronger than silver, but that looks like it could easily reach 1550 before silver hits 54. So I like that. CDE, skipping Fortuna. CDE was, yeah, yesterday just yeah, CDE yesterday just at market open was down 10%. I bought that because I could see the metals look like they wanted to move red to green and it looked okay. And that's actually what happened. And in the end, we had a nice day in the metals. And I basically bought the sort of the flush just before the market opened on the supposedly bad news. It was down like 3%, 4% at the beginning. I thought, oh, whatever. And then I started to see it had earnings, and I think it had really good earnings, but then it's just down. I thought, you know what? If it's got good earnings and it's down and it's CDE, let's just nibble. I haven't really, yeah, I just thought, let's just buy some because if silver makes new highs, I don't care what the underlying reason for the drop is. This is going to make new highs, beyond 24, 25. And by the close, we were almost, yeah, we were down 3%. But at one point, we were almost green there at 18 bucks. I just don't care about the news, unless there was something fundamentally crazy. I don't care. And I think if we have silver going up today, which we do, we could even test, 19, right? Which is basically resistance, 19, 1950. And if silver starts to make its move to 52, 54, then I don't care. CDE is going to close the gap and start, It'll probably be testing 24 with silver at 54. It'll probably start matching silver's breakout just because of this little weakness normally would outperform. So I don't care. I nibbled today. Heckler, very good. Right, there's your little resistance today. It should be testing if silver stays green by the open. After that, I'm not going to play the gap thing. Just, I don't know. We'll see what happens with silver. This will just follow silver, and this will make new highs with before silver. So it's doing its job. EXK, that one, slight outperformance recently. I like that we're closing and testing this absolute zone before the gap. Today, we probably enter the gap and, test 890, 880, something like that. And then, well, I don't know, it depends. I mean, if we close near the top of the gap and silver closes nicely and the week looks good, and there's any follow through next week, then we will be testing the old highs. I really think so, or at least just below it, like $10. So EXK looks good. How much of a percentage move is that anyway? 20. Wow, it's always more than you think, which is good. We could test the gap. There you go. A lot of the juniors did okay too. They started to catch up, have some green days. I've got quite a few of those. I'll have to spend a day going through all my juniors because I got about 10 or something. Um, but yeah, and I've got uranium, critical metals, copper, platinum, palladium. I've entered all those areas, lots of little stocks. My portfolio is massive. I mean, the amount of companies, it's hard to keep track. Amazon yesterday plus whatever percent with earnings. I got 3D printers up this morning, like 20%. It's wild, but it's good because I know very well my gold and silver portfolio. It's always got my primary attention when it moves. And I like not having too many good till cancel buys and sells. And I know that I'm just, it's easier to hold. It's strange. It's easier to hold the positions when you're distracted with other things. And I'm playing more of the long-term game, which is also why I didn't have sells in place for the miners. But I am thinking today, honestly, if some enter the gap, maybe I'll trim a little bit, like I said. But I still think we could go all the way back up next week. I think that might be possible, even with the dollar going up. Even though most people think this is just a dead cat bounce and the metal's fine, but expect the unexpected, and there's nothing that changed fundamentally for the metals. We got a rate cut, inflation's going up, the wars are going on, the deficit, nothing's changed. It was just a technical sell-off. So I wouldn't be so sure that it won't just go back to the top. Anyway, it was a wonderful day, and let's see how we close today for the weekly candle.